And how's that? Is that better? Hi, everybody. That better be better. Is that better? Do you like the pictures I put out? I put like koalas as if they'd be in people's attics and pigs as if they'd be in people's attics. Okay, this will be better. It will be fine. Thanks, Lynn. Hi, everybody. No, we have Wi-Fi extensions in every room of the house. I actually have to turn the Wi-Fi off to get you to see me better. So our Wi-Fi is actually really good, although now is it looking wonky again? Oh my goodness. Okay, no, it's good. It's good, right? Are we good? Are we good? Can everybody see me? Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. I know, that's just so weird. I have to get my husband on that. Wait, am I good or am I good? Okay, give me a thumbs up. It's good. Pigs in the attic would be very surprising. Pigs in the attic would be really surprising. Something's really wrong if there are pigs in the attic. Although, I mean, there are people who live in different parts of the world. They could have boars. They could have pigs, wild pigs. Oh, okay. I'm still recovering a little bit from my cold. That's why I look a little tired. So just ignore that. I'd rather have a pig in the attic than what I actually have. Uh-oh. Okay, Minori, we need to hear what's going on. So let me just give a quick introduction here. You had a snake in your attic. I cannot wait to discuss this. My cat's really sick and everything sucks. Oh, Anne, that's awful. I'm so sorry. We all know how that is. I'm so sorry. Well, listen, so let me give you a quick introduction. My name is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. I'm an animal advocate and an author of 7 books. You can find all of my work at ColleenPatrick-Goudreau.com. You can find my podcast at ColleenPatrick-Goudreau.com. And of course, the podcast is called Food for Thought, which you can find at iTunes. And I just produced the latest podcast. I almost said scope. The latest podcast, which is called Humane Critter Control, Managing Uninvited Guests. And I thought it would be great to talk more about about that issue. And of course, I will recap a little bit of what I talked about on that podcast. Can you believe that we've been doing the podcast for almost 10 years and we haven't talked about this particular topic? I've talked about it here and there, kind of related to other issues, including wildlife and taking care of wildlife around your home. But I haven't specifically talked about what to do when you have raccoons or squirrels or ants, etc. And so the topic is humanely managing critters. And I don't like calling them pests. Obviously, I put that in the scope title, but I put it in quotation marks because I don't consider them pests. And I think that's one of the first things we should consider is actually changing our perspective so that we don't look at them as pests, because the truth is we build these homes, we pretend they're watertight or critter tight, and then we complain when nature seeps in. It's called, we're part of, ideally, we'd be part of nature. We do tend to separate ourselves from nature, and that's one of the problems. So the first thing, thank you so much, Chakra. The first thing I would say is changing our perspective and recognizing that we are part of nature. We cannot close ourselves off from nature completely, and cracks form. And you know what? That's how the light gets in. So cracks are not all bad. But we can seal the cracks to keep the critters from coming in if we don't want to have critters living in our home. Grateful for this topic. A family of possums and a lot of squirrels live in my attic. It sounds like Grey Gardens. New to Periscope, but I follow you on your podcast and Facebook from Rochester. Hi, everybody. Well, if you are a lifer, just type in lifer so everybody knows how many people they can rely on for helping answer questions if I miss something. And then type in new in your name and where you're from if you are indeed new. And of course, make sure you're sharing this right now. I'll give you a second to share by clicking on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen where the little person and number is. We need more than 55 people on this scope. And so thanks for sharing. And then, of course, thanks for your hearts. We must share with the critters, indeed. So we've got quite a few lifers. My mom is going to do the 30-day vegan challenge in January. She's excited for the scopes. That's awesome. Kristen, is that Kristen? I think that was. Lifer, lots of lifers. Can I type old? Long-time listener. Type in, you don't want lifer, Lynette? You want to be old? Or you want to be a lifer? Lifer. I like lifer. So what about anybody new? Any newbies, type in new. 1 month, Natasha, North Carolina. Awesome, Natty. Or Natasha. Forgive me for sniffing. I'm still dealing with this stupid cold, so I might sniff unconsciously. Newbie, hi, no. Do you have a different name you want me to call you, or just no? Hillary, Dragonfly. Oh, you're saying hello, Dragonfly. Look at you guys. Are you guys like all like saying hi to each other? Bartender, say newbie. Awesome. Love it. Wait, 2015 newbie. I'm confused. That means newbie. First ever senior scope. Awesome. Okay. So, number one, when we're talking about critter control is let's change our perspective from looking at them as part of this world that we live in and not trying to, just not freaking out when like little critters get into our home. That's just what's going to happen. No is your cat's name. Oh, that's awesome. Number two is what are the things I talked about, and I repeated it a gazillion times in the podcast episode, is if they get into our home, they got into our home through an access point. So if we don't want them to stay in our home, or if we want to evict them, and we'll talk about that in a second as well, we need to make sure we close up the access points, and that's the most important thing. My neighbor's solution is to shoot squirrels with a shotgun in his backyard. That's horrific. Kate, is that fit, Kate? Is that what that? Where are you? My God. I mean, it's one of the benefits of kind of living in an urban area. I mean, we live in a city, right? So we don't have that as much. I think that's definitely more of a kind of a rural mentality. We don't have people shooting their wildlife, like shooting wildlife, probably because most people don't see wildlife in the city. But where they do in Louisiana, yeah, some of this is some of this is a mentality based on where you live, but sometimes this is a human mentality, and this is what I'm trying to shift. I'm trying to shift our mentality from looking at animals as here for us to use, but also that they're, that happens in Alabama, exactly. I'm in Oakland, Natty. I'm in Oakland, California. So we are in a city, and bed bugs are not a joke, bartender. Not a joke at all. And they're in, like, places you wouldn't expect. Absolutely. So that's number two. And you see it in Latin America. Sure. I mean, you're going to see this all around the world. And like I said, I think it's more of a human problem than necessarily even a location. Years ago, we had some creature living in the wall upstairs by our bed. Oh my God, that's kind of freaky when if you hear them at night. Yeah. So I talked in the podcast about different critters and how to deal with different critters. And I can give you like a little overview here. You heard them snoring at night. That's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. And you can also ask your own questions if you have any. And of course, I'll probably repeat some things that I've already said on the podcast, and I'll probably refer to the podcast a few times also, having said it on the podcast, most likely. I talked about the individual animals. I talked about squirrels, raccoons, possums, snakes. I talked about roaches. I talked about ants. I talked about... I didn't talk about skunks, actually. I don't think skunks usually make their way into people's attics, but they might. And I talked about the fact that when you do evict animals, and that's the third thing I would say. Number one, we need to change our perspective. Number two, they're coming in from an access point, so we have to close the access point. But number three, oh yeah, ladybugs. I should show you if I see any of the ladybugs. I'll show you. Number three is, I hear a helicopter. Hopefully it's just a traffic helicopter. You never know in Oakland. Number three is changing our perspective I know, I can't stand the way snakes waddle. It's too ridiculously cute. Is we need to change our perspective from just necessarily trapping animals to evicting animals. Does that make sense? Okay, possums freak the vegan out of you. And I want to make sure this is a really safe space for you. If you're vegan and you're a compassionate person and you're an animal person, you consider yourself an animal person, I just want to create a safe space that it's okay if there are certain animals that freak you out and that you don't want to live within your home. If you're afraid of spiders, if you don't appreciate the cockroach poem that I read on the podcast, which you're going to have to go listen to if you want to hear the roach poem, if you don't like mice, I just want to offer a safe space for you. I don't want you to feel like you can't talk about it if there are certain animals. Someone said on Instagram after I put out that the invitation to go listen to the podcast, someone put out that I think it was roaches that really challenge her compassionate side. So I really appreciate it. Being vegan isn't really about loving animals. It's about common sense and respect to all. I agree with you. In fact, one of the things I say is you don't have to love animals to not want to hurt them. So you don't have to be an animal lover. You don't have to love animals. You just have to not want to hurt them. Does that make sense? My compassion doesn't extend to spiders and roaches, and I feel guilty about it. I want to overcome it. You want to overcome the fear. I get it. Well, first of all, go listen to the podcast and listen to the roach story I tell. Did you listen to the podcast already? There really is a helicopter flying overhead. I don't know if it's like a traffic helicopter. David? Oh, hopefully he's doing the dishes right now. Roaches freak me out, but they don't deserve to die. Hi, Pamela. Hi, sweetie. Yeah, like, so, right. So I don't know if you listened to the podcast already, but yeah, that's the idea. And one of the things I talked about with roaches is, oh, it didn't show up on your iTunes. Oh, that's annoying. Gosh, I'll have to make sure it did show up in general. But, the link, I don't have a direct link. I mean, if you just type in Food for Thought podcast, iTunes or whatever, you can find it. It's also through Compassion. It's also through joyfulvegan.com/podcast. It makes sense. I would never hurt a possum. Honestly, I would run the other way. Sorry, someone just said something about podcasts and I didn't see what you said. So, I have a little critter behind me right now and she is a pest. She's such a pest. So one of the things I said about roaches is one of the ways you can keep a lot of these animals out, especially the ants and the insects. Oh, good. Okay, thanks for letting me know, Chris Adams. Is by keeping your kitchen as clean as possible. And I'm not implying that you keep a messy kitchen. I'm sure you don't. But